Hello and welcome back to Tarot of the Week. You're listening to me, Phyllis Brown, and we are going back to Ciro Marchetti and his wonderful, wonderful cards. Gateway to the Divine Tarot. So here is the book itself. So I don't have the box anymore. And the card that we've chosen today is the Nine of Swords, and it's in the reverse position. Swords are always, I suppose they are always a suit that people really don't like to pull cards from because they do sort of come across as a bit doom and gloom. And it is all to do with the mental mind. So we do get a little bit overwhelmed when we choose some of the swords. And here we have the Nine of Swords, which in any tarot is a little bit electrifying. It can be a little bit daunting when we look at this card. So here we have this maiden who is in respite, but I'm going to turn it into the positive position so we can just see the image just a little bit clearer. Here we have the Nine of Swords. The curtains have parted. So the veils, interestingly enough, we talked about the veils in our last card, and we're coming through that whole Halloween period into November. So the veils have parted, and she is lying there. Um, and I would say she is aware of the pressures and the stresses that are around her. She is not really restful. Not only do we have veils in the background, but we have veils in the foreground, which I'll show you. And as we go through the card, we see that we have 8 swords sort of cascading up out of the deck here. And then we have this single sword coming down with the long extended arms reaching out to her mindscape. Remember, swords are the mind. And I think we've all been in a place where we have had a troubled mind. That's really what the Nine of Swords is all about, a troubled mind. As you can see, the veils are parted here on either side, and then we have the veils on the back of the card. As we look at her, as we explore her expression, she feels almost like she is thinking. She's not focused on anything. She's neither happy nor sad. She is in a place of thinking. Her eyes are looking upwards. She's in that respite position, but we then have this central sword, which is sort of pivotal to the card. It's sort of floating. Almost feels like it's maybe floated down from the back of the card right down into the center of the card with these thoughts sort of cascading down to her. I think we all get to a point where we feel overwhelmed and we feel like, regardless of what decision we make, it could be good, it could be bad, someone somewhere may get hurt, and that could include yourself. So, this card is really showing us that sort of tortured mind. And we need to think about where our mind goes to when it travels through the astral planes. We need to get above that fourth plane of existence where we have that sort of, I'm going to call it that naughty vibration without going into any words that are connotations, but that that place where everyone's worst nightmares reside. And then we tap into that process and then it becomes our worst nightmare. And I think for her, she is really looking quite pained by what is going on in her life. What's really interesting to me is that not only do we have that purple in this card, but we have blue in this card as well. And so, a little bit like the amethyst card, we need to see our way through the light and the dark that's happening at this point in time. And we need to speak. We need to actually find our voice so that we can say what we need to say. We can be heard in such a way that we feel like we're able to progress a little bit. We feel like we're able to move from the dark into this lightened phase. It is just a phase. Lots of people will tie into this card when they wake up in that sort of we call it the bewitching hour at 3 a.m. in the morning, when again the veils are really thin. I've used that phrase over the last couple of weeks now. So we are coming through a really dynamic change psychically, in that we have access to the spiritual world, but they also have access to us. It is a two-way street. So we need to be really consciously aware of what we're hearing and who we are getting that message from. Double check your sources. Ask for validation before you jump into acting upon advice that may not necessarily be coming from a good source. So it's almost like a little bit of a warning to be really careful with your energy out there. It's also just telling us to be careful with what we're hearing, um, and to really, I suppose, not go to sleep with a worried mind if that's possible. Try and go to sleep on a happy mantra, if you will, something that gives you a sense of positivity. I know for myself, I watch a couple of really short, funny programs, 20 minutes, 25 minutes, whether it be Friends or Cougar Town or American Housewife or something really silly. My brain doesn't have to think, but they make me giggle. And then I come to bed, my brain has completely switched off. My head hits the pillow and I'm off. That's it. I am out of out of it, basically. So is there a routine that you could develop and adapt that will help you sort of move past this that hour, that 3 o'clock AM, when we wake up and we're really sort of stressed? So an interesting card, and time to speak your truth, I think. If you are really worried, if your mind is in a maelstrom of doubt, then you've got to get that out there. You can't hold on to that. It will just, yeah, it will just bring you down. It won't do you any good. So, speaking your truth. Hope you found that helpful. Until the next time, we'll see you here on Tarot of the Week. Bye for now.